Happy Monday, fourth graders. Oh my goodness gracious. Here it is, the week before Easter. It's a 4-day week for teachers, students. If you want to do stuff on Friday, you can. 4-day week next week. No school for teachers Monday. Students, if you don't want to work on Monday, you don't necessarily have to. But there is work for you to do on that Monday if you want to. So, since it is Easter week, or the week before Easter, I decided to wear my Easter shirt. It says, Happy to Teach. A little Easter egg, an Easter rabbit. Okay? Well, here we go. And this week, I'm going to be posting a video every week, or every day this week. That way, you'll have something to listen to for sure. All right. Here we go. A surprising development. I wish I could say things changed over the next few weeks, but they really didn't. Kiki and Ross didn't get sick of each other, which had been my hope. In fact, the opposite happened. The more they hung around each other, the more they seemed to like each other. One day, while waiting for class to begin, Ross's best friend Brett yanked on my arm. "So what's the story?" he asked. "About what?" "You know." Brett looked around, then leaned in like he was about to say something secret. "The lovebirds." Ew. I leaned in too, even though what we were talking about wasn't the slightest bit secret. "Lovebirds? You mean Ross and Kiki? Yeah, I guess they really seem to like each other. Pretty cool, huh?" "No, not cool at all," Brett said, scowling. "Ross has changed. He's gotten all, I don't know, what's the word for it? Nice?" I suggested. "Well," I said, "I admit it took a little getting used to. I would have never predicted those two would get together, that's for sure." Brett leaned in again, even closer this time. "Hey, I got an idea. Maybe we should try and break them up. That way you get your friend back, and I get mine." "Hey, I got an answer to your idea," I said. "Absolutely not." Then we both zipped our mouths because the happy couple were approaching. "How's it going?" Kiki said. "Well, what are you guys talking about?" Ross asked. Brett shifted uncomfortably. "Nothing much, just waiting for class to start. We definitely weren't talking about the two of you, if that's what you were thinking. Not even close." "Seriously, dude?" I shot Brett an annoyed look. "Actually," I said, "we were just talking about Evan's birthday party. Don't forget, it's this Saturday night. He thinks he's coming over to my house to watch a movie. Everyone needs to get there by 6:30 because we'll be home by 7. "Check," said Ross. "Double check," said Kiki. For some reason, they both thought that was the funniest thing in the world, and they doubled over with laughter. They were still giggling as they walked away. Brett and I stared at them for a few seconds, and then Brett said, "So like I was saying, maybe we should figure out a way to make the happy couple not so happy?" "Let me think about that," I said. By the night of the party, we had the plan all worked out. My mom, my brother Lester, and I were going to go out to eat with Evan and his family around 5:30. We were going to tell Evan we had to get to the restaurant early to beat the Saturday night crowds. By 6:45, we would head back to our house, where Evan thought we were going to watch The Jungle Book, the original one from 1967, which was one of his favorite movies ever. But instead, a bunch of kids would be waiting to yell "Surprise!" at the top of their lungs. Unfortunately, things started to go wrong pretty quickly. The first problem was that Darlene, who was Lester's girlfriend, came to dinner. Under normal circumstances, that would have been great, but these weren't normal circumstances, especially since Lester had forgotten to tell her about the party. So, of course, Darlene rolled in her usual 30 minutes late, despite Lester texting her about 62 times. So, it messed everything up. "Hey, you guys, I'm, so sorry," Darlene said, not sounding all that sorry at all. "My mom says she was going to drive me, but my brother used the car last night, and he couldn't find the keys, and so then my mom and him got in, this big fight, and by the time he found the keys, she was so mad that she wouldn't drive me, and of course he didn't want to drive me either, so I ended up having to call an Uber and pay for it myself, which is totally unfair if you ask me, right?" We all just stared at her for a few seconds until my mom, who was tied with my dad for the nicest person ever, said, "Well, we're very sorry to hear that, Darlene. I certainly hope our little dinner for Evan didn't cause you any trouble at home. Go ahead and hurry up and order, dear." "Yeah," grumbled Lester, not feeling quite as charitable as my mom was. We're going to be late, thanks to you. This better not ruin everything. I kicked Lester under the table to make him stop blabbing, but it was too late. What are you talking about? Late for what? Darlene said. And what does ruin everything mean? Lester's face turned a light shade of red as he realized he had now said too much. Nothing. I mean, it's Evan's birthday, so we want to make sure that, we can get to the store and get a cake before it closes or something. Darlene stared at Lester. I'm sorry for being late, like I said, but you are totally unmaking innocence at all right now. She turned to Evan. Dude, happy birthday, by the way, and I promise you are going to get the sweetest cake you've ever seen. Evan, who had been watching the whole exchange with the liveliest expression I'd seen on his face in weeks, nodded vigorously. Oh, I'm not worried about it, Darlene. Tonight's not even my birthday. Tomorrow night is. So if I don't get a cake tonight, I'm sure I'll get a great one tomorrow. Of course we're getting you a cake tonight, my mom said. It's the night before cake. Too bad you can't have any, Mr. Jellybean Man, Lester said to me with a hint of irritation still in his voice. Even though we basically got along really well, whenever he was mad about something or mad at someone, he tended to take it out on me, reminding me that I was still in fact a zombie. And zombies, as everyone knows by now, can only eat jelly beans. Be nice to your brother, my dad said. He didn't tolerate any kind of fighting, and especially any fighting in public. Semi-brother, Lester mumbled. What did you say? My dad's voice had taken on a new level of intensity. Let's everyone just calm down, said my mom. This is a celebration, remember? Should I go? Darlene asked. Maybe, Lester said. You stay right there, my mom ordered. Yes, ma'am, Darlene said. This is going great so far, my dad said. I was pretty sure he was kidding. I caught Evan's parents glancing at each other. They hadn't said anything during this entire exchange, but now it seemed like they'd had enough. Okay, said Mr. Brantley. Perhaps it's best if we head out and leave the Kinders in peace to work things out, shall we? I was thinking to myself that actually that wasn't a bad idea when Mr. Brantley gestured to his wife and son. Honey? Evan? Shall we? Huh? I realized with a slight jolt of horror that Mr. Brantley didn't know about the surprise party. Uh-oh, he's gonna ruin it because then they have to be like, no, you gotta stay with us. But he's like, no, we gotta go. But he's like, no, you gotta stay with us. Uh-oh. Evan stood up glumly. I really wanted to see that movie and have cake. We'll have cake tomorrow, his dad reminded him. Luckily, before the night turned into a complete disaster, Mrs. Brantley saved the day. Horace, why don't you and I go, but let Evan stay? She said. I've been meaning to try out that new ice cream place downtown anyway. Mr. Brantley thought about it for a second. Do they have Rocky Road? You know I love Rocky Road. I'm sure they have Rocky Road, honey. Fine. Mr. and Mrs. Brantley got up. Evan will pick you up later. Enjoy your party, said Mr. Brantley. Wait, did he just say that out loud? Now I was really confused. Did he know about the party or not? Either way, he was blowing it big time. Evan's eyes crinkled. What party? Mrs. Brantley said, way too excitedly. She yanked on her husband's arm. That's tomorrow night, dear. You know that. Wait a second. I said I didn't want a party, remember? Evan said. Oh no, this is going so bad. Surprise, it's going to be ruined. No. I sank lower in my chair. Things had gotten way out of hand, and we hadn't even gotten to our drinks yet. Not party exactly, said Mrs. Brantley. Just a family gathering, that's all. Tomorrow night, just the family. As hard as I stared at Evan's mom with grateful appreciation. I thought about what she was like when I first met her. It was hard to believe she'd been the one to turn me into the authorities way back when. Boy, times sure had changed. Okay, Evan said, but he still looked suspicious. I'm just not really in the mood for a party these days. I thought I was pretty clear about that. And don't even think about a surprise party because that would be the worst of all. Uh-oh. Luckily, the waiter came right then and we could change the subject once and for all. Who's ready to order? He said. Evan raised his hand. I am. I'd like to order everyone at this table to not throw me a party. It was starting to look like it was going to be one of those nights. Luckily, we got through the rest of the meal okay. Darlene and Lester made up. The food was delicious. Everyone was oohing and eyeing over the fried chicken, which did look delicious, even to a zombie. And by the time we paid the check and headed out to the car, everyone was excitedly singing the lyrics to "The bare necessities, the simple bare necessities of life." That's a song from The Jungle Book, which was the movie that Evan thought we were going to be watching when we got back to my house, but which we weren't because we were throwing him a surprise party, which he told us earlier would make him very upset. But hey, a plan's a plan, right? So there we were, in the car on the way home, when I texted Kiki, "We'll be there in 10. "We're ready," she texted back. "This is going to be so awesome." I wasn't sure what to say to that one, so I just let it lie. As we drove up the driveway, I noticed the house was dark, as in completely dark, unnaturally dark. Everyone leaves at least one or two lights on, even when they're not home, right? But this was pure blackness. "Geez, your house is really black. Really dark," Evan said, right on cue. "We must have forgotten to leave a light on," shouted everyone in the car, basically at the same time. Ooh, he's going to be so suspicious. Evan looked a little startled at our group enthusiasm, but luckily, he didn't seem to put two and two together. My mom opened the front door, and we went in first. She turned a light on in the kitchen. We followed her. The house was deadly silent. We all stood there for a few seconds, each waiting for someone else to say something. It was the most awkward moment in the world. If somebody wrote a book on how to throw a surprise party, I'm pretty sure the first rule would be, don't walk into your own house and freeze in place as if you're in a play and you've forgotten your lines. But still, Evan was clueless. What time did you want to start the movie?" he asked. "My mom is picking me up at 9:30. Lester, bless his heart, was the first one to step up to the plate. "Hey, Evan, can you go into the living room and grab the big bowl that's on the coffee table? I'm going to rustle up some popcorn." "You bet." Popcorn was always on Evan's mind. It always got him excited, since it was the one semi-unhealthy treat his mom let him eat. Sure enough, Evan raced to the living room, turned on the light, and was greeted by a room full of sixth graders leaping out from behind the couches, chairs, and tables, all screaming, "Surprise!" Evan froze in place like he'd seen a ghost, or more accurately, about 25 ghosts. Kiki, Ross, Brett, and all the other kids in our homeroom class charged at Evan, yelling, "Happy birthday!" and "You're the man!" and "You should have seen your face!" and stuff like that. Sarah Ann waited until all the chaos had died down, then went over and gave Evan a hug. I stood in the doorway, scared stiff, waiting to see how Evan would react to the exact thing he said earlier he didn't want. After 5 seconds, that felt like years, like 5 years. I had my answer. A giant smile crossed his face. "Yes!" he said. "A surprise party! Let's do this!" And so I was reminded once again, you can never take anything an 11-year-old human boy says too seriously, even if he's about to turn 12. So there's him being surprised at his party. And I am going to stop there. Ooh, so exciting! Man, I thought it was going to be blown. I thought the secret was going to be blown. He was going to find out. Everyone was going to know. And he wasn't going to be going. He was going to call his mom and be like, "Mom, come pick me up. This is terrible." But it went off. It was exciting. Everybody liked it. It was great. So, well, I will see you tomorrow to continue on with the party. Happy Monday, guys. Bye.